become the new normal for millions of us around the world. And businesses like ours have had to quickly set up home working processes and change our security arrangements in order to adapt, and in some cases, lean in and pivot our products and services. So how did the lockdown decision affect us as business leaders and team members? As we reflect, how did we feel about the movement to working from home or not being able to work at all, and later furloughed, as there has been no frame of reference or situations like this in our lifetime before? For some of us, there was a level of nervousness. Our safe, comfortable office or outdoor working environment and peer affirmation had been removed, and we did not know what was ahead of us. There was also a level of anticipation and excitement too, especially working from home expectations versus the reality. Or for those who were unable to work, time spent to work or be with immediate families, or doing self-development courses, attending online webinars and listening to podcasts. The expectation was that we had to carry on with the same normality and routine, but also recognise the importance of social interaction, whilst allowing this unexpected new territory to emerge. We couldn't see it until we stepped into it, and as mentioned, this was new territory to us all. Now, as we enter our 7th week in lockdown and reflect on the past weeks since lockdown has taken place, how have we coped and adapted to physical distancing and for our work life merging into our personal and social life? How have we adapted to missing our social interaction, sometimes overcrowding in our house, lack of privacy and lack of downtime? And for those of us who have got families, how have we adapted to school, homeschooling, and how have we learned to settle into this new normality? Whilst some of us have been coping better than others and have used this time to develop skill sets and knowledge, and sharing and embracing our daily exercise routine, others have not been coping so well and have not yet found that true balance within themselves. Although we have all been in this together, due to the different circumstances and backgrounds, we have been experiencing this pandemic differently. So in respect of learning to live temporarily with what we've lost and the discomfort, in some cases, what we all have experienced at times over the last 7 weeks has been similar to the different stages of grief, as shared by Kubler-Ross. The first stage is denial and isolation. For example, asking ourselves, this is not and cannot be happening to us. Then there's anger, having anxiety and asking, is this really happening to me? There's bargaining and asking the question, why am I struggling to find meaning in this pandemic situation? There then moves on to depression, intense sadness and periods of feeling low. And then moving to acceptance, the reality of this situation, building and looking to the future. In some cases, we've learned that it's okay to not feel okay all of the time and to show our vulnerability. Each of us have not necessarily gone through each of these stages in the same order or experienced all of them, but this is okay and normal. Everyone grieves and deals with change differently. Some people will wear their emotions on their sleeves and be outwardly emotional, and others will experience their grief and loss more internally. And now, 7 weeks on the 6th of May, where are we? Well, it's important for all of us to recognise and acknowledge what we have been through and what we are still going through, and how we're coping and not coping with this. Also, some of us have been online more than usual, reading online news or listening to the news updates on all channels for the latest COVID-19 updates. The latest stats has shown that internet use has increased by 50%, but that also includes homeschooling as well. So being on mobiles, laptops and online constantly can affect our anxiety levels, and anxiety lowers our immune system. So it's really important to know when to switch off. We should be limiting our time that we're spending reading or watching something that's not making us feel better. And maybe a good approach would be to decide on a specific time to check in with the news, perhaps once a day. And this is definitely what I do now. Also, by staying in touch with those we care about, and there has been virtual quiz nights and family get-togethers online. This will assist in helping towards us maintain good mentality during this period of self-isolation, and this will also help us to adopt flexible working, work-life balance, home working, well-being and focus. We all need to strike a balance between having a routine and making sure that each day has some variety. We need to celebrate the successes, however big and small, and this is through achieving on a daily basis. Sometimes, however, the fear takes over, but it's okay. We can just remember to live our life, enjoy it, and do things that we can enjoy safely, smile and embrace. And some of us have felt a loss of identity and purpose and have asked ourselves, what am I going to do now? As shared, it's okay to be not okay, to not bottle up our feelings. We should give ourselves permission to not be okay and be okay with that. And it's okay to be vulnerable, to sit with and accept our feelings. And this has also been acknowledged by the First Minister as she announced last week the new Clear Your Head campaign. And she also mentioned it is okay to not be feeling okay. And she shared the links to NHS Inform and Breathing Space, which is on the screen just now. Also on Sunday the 3rd of May, additional funding was shared by the Health Minister to support anyone who wants to use these services confidentially. In the meantime, we should not be afraid to share with our business leaders, our team leaders, or our team members how we're feeling, as we may need to take some time out at some point. Perhaps this could be by bringing forward a holiday, as we need to do the right thing for each of us just now. So as we turn to look at how we're going to prepare for lockdown to be gradually lifted, the UK government are talking about possible ways forward and a cautious approach to relax lockdown this week. And it's believed that Prime Minister will review the proposed high-level roadmap out of lockdown this Sunday, the 10th of May. The First Minister also shared yesterday that there will be careful and gradual changes, and shared that through the updated white paper publication yesterday, this paper sets out different options for when evidence judges it's safe to introduce them, and this details 5 different areas, including businesses to gradually reopen. The First Minister has cited that she's working with businesses and trade unions from different working environments about the practical arrangement of reopening safely in respect of physical layout of the workspaces and appropriate use of PPE and the use of public transport, but stressed not to compromise safety. The businesses that were cited were construction, retail, manufacturing, outdoor and rural areas. The First Minister stressed that current guidance to businesses today will remain in place, but will keep everyone updated on future developments in the next few weeks. The First Minister also shared the new test, trace, isolate and support plan of action in preparation for the lockdown to be eased gradually. She also shared that it's not going to be a flick of a switch but there are proactive things that we can do as business leaders and team members in preparation for this gradual lockdown to be released. If we take business leaders first, we can continue to keep our communications line open and continue to speak with our remote team members, inclusive of all our furloughed team members and team members who are perhaps on reduced working hours or working days. It has been encouraging to see in most cases business leaders continuing to keep all team members in the communication loop, as team members need to see this continued presence and contact to feel as when this pandemic is going to be over, culture, values, and potential new vision will require to be reset. During these communication sessions, as business leaders, we should encourage each team member to ask questions and share any concerns or suggestions that they may have. This is especially important as the different team members will need to integrate back together, with the underlying acknowledgement that each person has experienced different situations and feelings since lockdown. This can include team members who have been diagnosed positive with COVID-19 and recovered, perhaps a team member who has nursed or know of a family member or friend who has had the virus, or a team member who's tragically lost a family member or friend to the virus. It's also important to share with furloughed team members if any pivoting activity has taken place, and to give them time to understand this change in direction and strategy. This will ensure that they are kept up to speed with developments, as this will help speed their integration back into the business with other team members. Also, as business leaders, as we focus and reflect with our team members, we have if we reflect with our team members, if we have had to pivot, is this something we want to continue alongside our current products or service offering? If this is the case, we may need to consider the reskilling or upskilling of some of our current workforce to continue this offering. Also, as a business leader, we need to continue to look at our brand, our presence, and our messaging. Is this still relevant as we approach the new normal? Also, we need to think about our furloughed team members again, as they have not been allowed to work. So it's been difficult for them to have been able to promote our companies and our brands. We should also check in to ensure that technology platforms that our teams have been using are still effective and relevant, and solicit their feedback of any proposed changes. So for example, if a team are using Zoom and they prefer to be using Microsoft Teams, you just, or vice versa, can swap that in to make sure that each team member have access to these tools and fully functioning equipment. We also need to continue to encourage healthy practices. As shared previously, all of our health and well-being has been tested through the last 7 weeks. So as business leaders, we need to encourage our team members to take regular breaks and continue to practice self-care. And finally, for business leaders, it's also important to continue to manage expectations. This will be especially important if the impact of the gradual lockdown restrictions includes some form of continued home working for some of our team members, as the First Minister cited yesterday. We need to continue to be flexible, as each team member will have different lockdown experiences. In respect of preparing for gradual lockdown restrictions from a team member perspective, as we may not get the when and definite timetable, as the First Minister shared yesterday, there are different things that we can do to prepare and support the restart, the rebuild, and the renew strategy. From an individual and personal point of view, one main area that we should prepare for as we emerge is positivity from a health and well-being perspective. So I have been working over the last year with a digital online coaching company, Know You More, and they have prepared excellent free resources which has been designed to provide each of us with a reflective space. And this will help us make some sense of what is going on for us. This is part of a 13-page document which takes us back to what are we noticing in ourselves. And I'll also share this after the call. It has blank worksheets in order for you to look at and update at your leisure. But what this will do, this will show us how to understand our own reactions to crisis like this pandemic through our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. We can explore the personal strengths and the resources we can use to support ourselves in times of crisis like this. And we can identify ways to move forward and strengthen our resilience and adaptability for the future. And with regards to education and looking at different courses, if you have been furloughed or you have been remote working and have had additional time for self-development, share your new skills and what you've learned with your business manager in order to contribute and support new pivoted business. Also, keep visible and be ready for action. But for those of you who have not had a chance to look at any self-help or training, Skills Development Scotland have shared an amazing training repository via My World of Work. And I would definitely encourage you to take a look at these free resources. And again, I've shown the link there on the slide. It's really important for us preparing for lockdown to be gradually lifted that we try and choose to have a growth mindset, as a person with a fixed mindset may not or may limit their beliefs. They may resist change, believe it's difficult and painful, but on the other hand, if we have a growth mindset, we can recognise that change, not just possible, but there's also a driver to creativity and success. We believe out of every situation, be it good or bad, there is an opportunity to learn and see things differently. Also, we need to try and continue to stay active in exercise and perhaps practice mindfulness as well. We need to catch up on our sleep, and this is really important. And we should try to revert back to our weekday pre-lockdown sleeping pattern, as this will help our mindset preparation in the future. Think and ink. This should be encouraged as well, to write diaries and journals. There's definitely a therapeutic benefit to committing our thoughts to paper, and this help others too. We should also continue really looking after the people closest to us and keep in touch and share nice memories and plan all the things that we're going to do when we're back together. The key, we need to keep things in perspective just now, to not panic and try to see an opportunity in every setback. So as we move through May into the coming months, what is going to be our new normal? Most definitely, from an individual perspective, I believe there's going to be a global reset where each of us will emerge differently. We'll have renewed compassion for others, have new perspectives, renewed clarity, and refined focus. We will all learn to live with uncertainty, but we will enjoy human interaction again. We'll learn from each other by listening and contributing into conversations around us. We will enjoy receiving affirmation from business leaders, team members, customers, friends, and family, and we'll be able to look into each other's eyes again. We'll also continue to build off the grief cycle, which we talked about earlier, and in most cases, for all of us, this will come to an end. We will explore how we've all pivoted and adapted and start to understand how our personal resilience has grown in the context of this crisis. We will also not be afraid to show our vulnerability, to talk about the health and well-being in an open and transparent way, as this has been an unknown for all of us. From a work-life perspective, we as business leaders and team members, we need to work closely together with a view to supporting staggering start times, potentially working behind physical screens, and using some form of protective equipment whilst maintaining distances of 2 metres between each team member if this is not possible. We may, in some cases, still continue to work from home as part of our working week and be rotated and join other team members in the office or our outdoor working location for the rest of the week. We collectively need to support the new roles in order to be confident and keep ourselves, our businesses, our team members, family and friends safe. As the First Minister shared, our new normal and lifting of lockdown is not going to be a flick of a switch, but the light at the end of the tunnel is there, but we want it to get brighter each day. So with every breakthrough, there is this newness coming in. We will have more confidence and we'll be able to move more easily and feel more at ease. And finally, what we would all agree and accept, this will need careful navigation over the coming months, but we can do this together through the continuation of our guiding values of kindness, compassion, openness, and transparency.